Yeah. And it is so much better once we get there. We don't even realize how good it can be for us. Like once I got sober, that I started taking better care of myself, and like, yeah, so what? Dad's become the garbage disposal. It's like, go ahead and hand them cookies over. I'll have some of them. But I remember I'll go back and look through photos and just see the skull. See my actual skull through my skin, and I'm like, wow, how could I ever let myself get like that? And so when somebody said something like that to me, I'm like, I didn't even let it bother me. It's like it rolled off my skin so hard. I didn't get offended. My wife did. My wife got super offended, but I didn't. I was just like, yeah, I don't need to ever do any of that. And I just moved along with the conversation. And I think it shocked them just as much, that their jab at me didn't faze me. It's like, no, I'm good. Mine, it's been spiritual, but no program work. I had a very, very bad experience the last time I did anything, and I hate to say it like this right here, but you ever seen the movie Clockwork Orange? Remember when he got brainwashed, and every time he sees violence, he gets sick? Yeah. Same thing happens to me. If I see drugs, I get sick. It physically made me so ill the last time that I did it. When I said I was, and it scared me. It traumatized me in a way that kind of was not divine intervention, if that makes sense. Like it was like something stepped down and put its hands on me and said, "Enough's enough." And that was enough for me to move forward. And, it's like I'll talk to people if they ever ask me about it. And I'm never against talking to anybody that's struggling, because I'm there for them. Like I said with you, it's like it's such a great light in the tunnel. But I never did any program. I spent 6 months in my bedroom, and my wife took care of me. And I worked on my music and my everything, and I healed. And then after that was the true test, going back into the business, going back on the tours, seeing the same people, the routine, as we all like to call it, the routine of what we always did. And my wife said that was a test, and I passed. It's like as soon as I got put in my place, it's like no, I'm good. I'm good. Like and that's how I've handled it. But I never did any kind of NA or AA or anything like that. And that's the thing. It's we got to help, because we understand better than anybody where we're at. We're not bad people. We're not. We're lost. We're lost within ourselves. We have a little bit of selfishness because what we do, but we don't feel like we're hurting anybody, but we are. But we're hurting ourselves more than anything, and we don't realize that we don't love ourselves the way we should. Because like if you love yourself, if you love anybody, you're not going to put them in a dangerous situation. If you truly love somebody, you're going to protect them. And like your kids, your wife, you're never going to put them in a situation. But when you love yourself, you got to understand you got to love yourself, because if you can't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. Like, because you don't know how to. Like only way you can learn to love is like you got to learn to love this, so you can express it to everybody else. Because like at the end of the day, if you don't love you, how are you going to love somebody? It's just not going to work, because you don't know how. You're selfish in that way. But people don't understand that's a sickness. It's not like we're not bad people. We've done things to ourselves, or we went through things, and we get lost. And I say it all the time. It's like I was so lost for so many years that I couldn't make a right decision to save me. If it was right there in front of me, said this way, I'd have turned the other way. Like right decision was not in the book for me. And like I was saying before you hit record, you know, my it was divine intervention. It was complete divine intervention. I seen shadow people. I seen and I can't explain it. And people talk about that like it's a mass hysteria, like people on speed and stuff. That was some demons, you know. And how's everybody seeing the same thing? You know, it's like, how are you seeing this? It's like I thought everybody's brain was different. You know, it's like, why are we seeing the same stuff? You know, and I had that happen to me, and I was done. And now, when I'm around it or presented it, I have this sickness that takes my whole body over like a clockwork orange. You know, if he's seen evil, like he sees violence, he gets sick. I'm the same way. I'll get sick to my stomach, and that is my deterrent. But I don't need it to be my deterrent, because now I've got self-respect, and I have a mission in life of this is what I need to accomplish, and this doesn't sit in that you know, with that path I've laid. This is not part of it. And it's been a battle, but like now I feel like I'm on the upside of it, because like it seems like my addiction, even though I'm almost 7 years in, it seems like it was 100 years ago. It feels like it's been that long since I was there, and I feel like a different person.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna introduce you real quick, because we're gonna keep going like this, man, and I love it. Hey everyone, I'm gonna do this intro a little bit differently. I'm Raymond. I am your alcoholic host, and today I am joined with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Waylon Reavis, former singer of Mushroomhead and the singer of A Killer's Confession.
Which this is awesome, and we're doing this, and we started talking, and this is the introduction. And you identify as an addict or a person in recovery, or you're just Waylon?
I identify. I'm an addict. I am totally an addict, and I am in recovery. Like I said, I feel like I've shed a lot of that, but you're always what you are. It's always there. It's never going away. So yeah, I am an addict. I identify as an addict. My drug of choice was speed. I like to go up. I felt like I was going to lose something if I didn't. I was going to miss something. A lot of my drug use came from coping. Didn't have the greatest, I had a great family, but like my childhood and my young adult life it was a lot of things that happened, and just kind of led me down that path. And that was the drug I chose to cope. You know, it numbed the feelings of like, where am I at? Where am I going? Why is this not working out the way it should be? You know, it's like dealing with the loss. It's like it just numbed the pain. And, it's like, but you can't run from that. You have to mourn. You have to accept what's been dealt to you, and you have to face it. And if I could just tell anybody, if anybody's out there and you're using to deal with things, you have to take the mask off, and you have to stand there, and you have to face it, including the consequences that come along with it. It may be scary, but I promise you, once it's done, nothing's forever, and it's not going to last forever, but it's a better way to handle things than this.
Your approach is, I talk to a lot of people in different programs, whether it's like Life Ring, AA, NA, multitude of different programs. We were talking before we really got going, and you're saying yours was divine intervention.
It was.
Did you hit was there like a level of desperation, or can you kind of like explain that to where you got to that point?
I wanted to get clean. I did. I wanted to get clean, and I had just had the final split up with my ex-wife. I had started A Killer's Confession. It was off to a rocky start. Still fresh off the leaving Mushroomhead, which was a bad time of life. I mean, like to this day, though, I say it's the greatest thing ever happened to me, because if I'd stayed in that situation, I would have got worse. I'd have got sicker, and I probably would not be here because of being there. And that's nothing against the band or anything. That's me. You got to understand, I don't blame them for my addiction. I blame myself for my addiction. But, the situation would not have got any better, and I would not have got any better. But was going, like I was telling everybody, it's like coping. Like, you got to face the music. You've got to take the mask off. You've got to be able to look at the world and not think I need a substance to handle this. You got to come to that point in your life where you realize it's like, I've got to be a strong human being, man, woman, child, whatever. It's like you got to be a strong person. And had just met my wife now, Julie, and we were just getting together, and I was trying to get sober, and I was given some drugs. I was actually given meth. And it was my drug of choice. It was not. I was more of cocaine. I did cocaine. I didn't really tamper with meth that much at all, actually. And he gave me that, and I didn't really realize there was much of a difference between the two. Boy, was I wrong in the first place. That was a dumb. I should have done my homework of like what's what here. It's like taking Diet Coke and then taking Coke and then throwing a Red Bull into that Coke and a Monster. It's a whole different ball game. And I had not really realized how much more powerful this drug was. And most people that are into cocaine and stuff like that don't come back to, like, once they see that, they totally become, they like it better. Well, it had the opposite effect on me. I had a 4-day up for 4 days, and this like blown mind, like it was trying to get myself to come to reality, but like it put me in a headspace I'd never been in. I started seeing things. Julie had caught on to it. It was very much it was scary. Like, I was seeing shadow people on the wall. I was talking to corners, like just very scary moment in my life. And I was sure that death was at my doorstep, like that type of moment. And I say a spiritual intervention, that divine intervention. It was totally, because like, to me, like that, people say it's a psychosis and they see these shadow things and they do that. But how are we all seeing the same thing? If we're all different and our minds are, everybody's got a different mind and stuff, how are we all seeing the same stuff? I seen this stuff and it felt like the movie Ghost. When the demons came up and took the guy to hell at the very end of it, when like the black shadow people came out. And you know what I'm talking about, the scene? Yeah. Felt like that. And it just scared me to death. And when I finally came to, Julie had all my stuff packed. And she said, get the F out. And I said, I'm never touching it again. And I promised her that. And I've been sober ever since. That's all it took. It was like, but it wasn't, I didn't do it for her. I didn't do it for my kids. I didn't do it to fix something. I did it because I had to do it. I did it for me, because like that was the scariest place I've ever been in my life. To have that kind of reaction and to see that kind of thing and can't explain it. That's the thing. It's like that something happened to me that I cannot explain on this earth. Like, people could tell me like it's, something with my brain or whatever, like that, like you wasn't there. You didn't have to witness what I witnessed. And it was such a traumatic moment that two things happened. You succumb to it, or it completely changes you forever. And for me, it completely changed me forever. I look at things differently now. I look at an afterlife. I look at like there might be things around me that I don't understand. It's like I've tampered with some stuff and set myself somewhere I didn't want to go and I didn't want to be. And that's why I call it a divine intervention. I think I was shown the path I was on, and that was enough for me to be like, I'm good. I'm good. You keep that stuff. I don't ever want to do it again. So I never went to AA or NA. I never talked about it. I'm willing to talk about it. Like now, I'm willing to talk to anybody about it. But for my sobriety, I didn't have to, because something has been implanted in me that I will never be able to remove, if that makes sense. Like it does. Like I have a business in this of being like, we move. It's like as soon as it's near me, it's going off. It's like it's a warning. It's a warning sign. I get the sickness. I feel sick. I feel scared. I get anxiety, and that's enough. It's like I have that warning sign of like it's a trigger that I'm like, no, I'm good. Bye. And I have been around it, and I will be in that room for maybe a couple minutes. And once I realize what's going on, I'm out that room, and I'm away as far away from it as I can get.
Now you talk, you're cutting out a little bit too, like your volume's going lower.
I'm sorry. I'm in my truck. I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize. Thank you. It's all right. You use it as a coping mechanism, and now with not working a program or anything like that, how did you learn how to cope with anything ongoing in your lifetime? A lot of people do use drugs and alcohol as coping mechanisms, or
I face it. That's how I cope. Now I face it, knowing it can't be that bad. Win, lose, or draw. Like the worst outcome is being 6 feet under, and most likely it's not going to be that. But and you know what I mean. I might be out a little bit of money. Somebody might be a little bit upset with me. But I'm still breathing. I can deal with it. I can face it. I got to go to court. I can face the judge. I ain't got no. And the best part is I have nothing to hide. I've done nothing. I live my life right. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I will face anybody. I'll face any judgment because I know what I'm doing. And you got nothing on me. That's the best feeling too.
That's solid, man. It sounds clear cut and so simple. It's like almost too good to be true.
It's not, man. When I say like, I feel like my dad from the other side, like something, a higher power than myself put its hand on me that day.
Yeah.
And now I've always got that hand. And win, lose, or draw, it's going to be there, and I'm going to be all right. I'm going to survive. I'm going, I'm okay. And I wish this for everybody. If anybody's out there listening, I want this for you. I want you to have this kind of clarity, because when you get to this point and you have, it's a confidence. It's a confidence that you can't explain, because it feels like you've got $1 billion back in you, if that makes sense. It feels like, you can't, you at the craps table and you can't lose. It's just an absolute amazing feeling to know you're taken care of now. You do right. And I believe karma. Trust me, I believe in karma. What goes around comes around. You put it out there, it's going to come back. Plain as day. I know this for a fact. I've had it happen to me. But a lot of people, they have a hard time understanding this, but I wish this for people. I pray for this for people. I want people to have what I've received, because once you have it, it don't go away, and you get your conscience back, and you get that little voice that used to talk to you when you was little. It's like, you better not do that. And the voice I'm talking about. Every one of us had it when we were little. And you get in trouble, you better not do that. You had that conscience. And as adults, we seem to lose that. And I got mine back. I got that voice back. And it's nice, because it's my friend. He ain't steering me wrong. He knows he knows. And I want that for people. And I want it for people who've been where I'm at, because it takes away feeling alone, if that makes sense. Because a lot of it deals that being alone.
Yeah, being a lot of it is resolved being alone, and people isolating, people on addiction and alcoholism and stuff like that. They isolate, and it puts them into, I guess, like a deeper hole.
It does.
And
it does, but
it does,
brother. But like I'm telling you, it's the best feeling. Like I wish I could can this. I'd be a billionaire.
Well, yeah.
If I could can what has happened to me, I wouldn't even charge. I wouldn't be a billionaire. I'd just give it to everybody. If I could give what was given to me to everybody, I would. Because there's no better feeling than that, of knowing that now. And you'll spend a couple years and you'll start remembering things. And I don't know if you went through this too. Remember things while you were an addict and while you were going there. And I'm sorry. And I apologize every time one crosses my mind. I apologize if I wronged somebody or if I did something that I really shouldn't have done. I mean it. And I just openly just say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I apologize to myself and I accept it, because that's one thing a lot of people can't do too, is apologize to yourself. And it sounds weird, but you should apologize to yourself for making decisions that made you look dumb or put you in a very bad situation or cause you an ailment or hurt or hurt other people. You should apologize. You should totally take accountability for where you've been, even to yourself.
You're stepping. You're doing step work and not even going to a program. You're doing stuff that we do in these programs, and it's just like, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, everything you're saying is like stuff we do, but you had this moment of clarity, and it's so hard for me to wrap my head around. Really, really hard for me to wrap my head around, because of like how much I bashed my head just to even think about one day of even, it's like when I first quit it, it's just like, I gotta go the rest of my life without drinking or, whatever, mind altering substance, whatever. And it's just like, well, that's just like that mindset right there. Then the mindset of trying to figure out, well, why I let myself become this way and how. I was like, I don't know why. Don't worry about the why.
There's where you're gonna get lost. Just accept and forgive. Accept that you fail. We're human. We're meant to. None of us are perfect. You're gonna stumble. Don't try to figure out why you stumbled. Just know that you stumbled. That's the key. Know that you stumbled and forgive yourself for it. Don't ask why. No, because like that throws you in a bigger hole, like trying to figure things out. Don't try to figure it out, because it'll come to you. That clarity will come. Just accept that you did. Because when you accept that you did, it's easier to forgive because you admitted it. Well, I failed. I failed from grace. I fell from in the eyes of my family, my kids, my parents. I failed them, but I'm not going to let it define me. I don't know why I did it, and we'll get to that. That'll come, but it's okay. And I'm sorry. We're going to do better. And you start with you. Start with you. Don't do it for anybody else but you. You have to do it for you, because that's where people mess up. If you ain't doing it for yourself, for your own health, you ain't on the right path yet.
And that was my biggest mistake at the beginning. I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it as a masquerade, as another ruse, another way to get my way. Yeah, I know.
It's totally. If you ain't doing it for you, you ain't doing it. Because like it has to be for you, because you're the problem. And I'm not saying that you're a problem, but you are the problem. Nobody else is putting that stuff in your system.
Right.
Nobody else is doing it too. Nobody's putting that bottle to your lips. Nobody's putting that line up your nose. You are. You got to start at the source, and the source ain't anybody but you.
Now, was this okay? You said, you did 6 months home, working on yourself, getting yourself cleaned out that way. When did this clarity of Waylon, the accept responsibility, about a year. You were able to start putting this together on your own.
I put this together on my own about a year. It took 6 months to get good, like healthy. And you know what I mean? Get to where I could start going outside. I could go out and be in situations, you know what I'm saying? I could see people and not try to go down them same paths. It took 6 months. And during that 6 months, I learned to program my entire video set that goes on stage with me. Like, that's how I focused my mind, was with work. I put my mind into A Killer's Confession. I wrote a song called Numb. I wrote a song called The Shore that addressed this specific situation. And to this day, Numb is A Killer's Confession's biggest song to date. Like, it's our biggest song. The Shore didn't take off, but The Shore's got a deeper meaning. But I wrote these songs. I expressed myself, expressed how I felt, and I got it off my chest. But I used that time to heal and to detox. You know, I had to detox. I had to get it all out of my system.
I'll make sure are there actual videos, like music videos for these?
Yeah,
I'll have to link them into the show notes for everyone to check out. So
yeah, you can go find Numb in The Shore on YouTube. Find on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and like we address other things in life in the videos, but know that I'm talking about myself and my addiction in that. Those songs, I'm really talking about how lost, like I said, as we talked earlier, how lost I was.
Yeah, I checked that. I checked that one. The tongue. I watched the one video. It was called Tongue first.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, metal, fire, and then I was like, okay, let's see. And I found the Numb one, and I was like, man, this is deep, and I was wondering how much of this actually pertained to you.
I'm very bipolar. Like, I give you what I'm feeling. If it's anger, it's anger. If it's sorrow, it's sorrow. If it's remorse, it's there. And I express that feeling to 120% during that song. You could tell during Tongue. Tongue is flat out, I'm angry. I'm very angry. And I'm talking about predators in that song. So I'm talking about protecting kids. So I'm wrath, if that makes sense. I'm like, you should be punished. And with Numb, very remorseful, very sorrow, very much of an addict saying, I have become so numb. I have dumbed myself down to the point to where the simple pleasures in life don't mean nothing. And then The Shore is the sea of addiction. I'm giving the meanings away here. The shore is the sea of addiction, and how I'm struggling to get to shore, to get to safety, and how everybody who was around me just watched me drown in it. Nobody stuck a hand out. The only person that stuck a hand out was my wife. But it was not at the time, it was not the hand I needed. It was the hand to get the hell out. But it was the hand I needed, but it wasn't the hand I wanted. I didn't want to get thrown on my butt. But the fact is, she was there. She watched the recovery. And my wife will tell you too. It's like, I'm not that guy. Like, and she sees it. She'll tell him flat out. She's like, you do know you're playing with fire with him with that. He won't take kindly to it. And I won't. Like, don't tempt me, because like, you're not going to tempt me in a good way. You're going to tempt me in a bad way, and the bad way is going to end up in your butt. You know, I won't play about it. I won't. Now, granted, I won't condemn you, and I will not blacklist you, and I will not shun you for being an addict. But don't ask me to join you. Don't ask me to climb back down that pit with you, because the person that will come out is not a person you want to see, because he will protect me and he will be very, very unpleasant to be around, if that makes sense. And I don't mean to be mean to people. I will help you, and I will have as much empathy as anybody there, that if you're an addict, but do not ever cross that line thinking that you can offer that to me, because then you get a whole different demon.
Well, you're protecting your sobriety. You're protecting your recovery. So,
and I'm not.
I don't think you're being mean or being an asshole.
I'm just saying he's mean.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying you're not being an asshole. You're protecting your sobriety.
I'm very much protecting my sobriety, because, like, my wife and I will have conversations about once a year about it, and she'll ask me, says, "What keeps you?" You know, it's like, what makes you think, if it didn't all go back to the way it used to be with the big time fame and stuff like that? Because I mean, I've not hit the levels of fame with the Killer's Confession I have with Mushroom Head, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. She goes, "Well, how is it going to be when that's back?" And I said, "I'm a different person. I can handle it. I can handle it now. Before I couldn't handle it. I can handle it." And she goes, "Well, what's going to keep you from going back to that?" And I told her, I said, "When you live in a life of misery and it's that bad, you never want to go back. It's like if you were living on the streets eating worms and bugs, and then got moved into a mansion and getting fed the finest meals you've ever seen in your life. You ain't going to go back to the streets and the bugs again. Once you got a taste of what's good, if you get a real taste of what's good, and you have a taste of success that's not monetary," and that you got to understand when I say success, I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about having nice things. I'm talking about success with yourself. Like, that is like the best success. When you have success within yourself, there's nothing greater. Nothing. No drug, no money, no purchase, no pleasure that can touch it. When you have that moment of just like, this, I succeeded in me. And it's like, yeah, it didn't turn into a house or a car or $1 million, but it still was a success. It's like that is it's hard to explain that one, but like, when you have it, you have it, and it's like, come what may, I'm going to be all right. And that's a success. And you don't turn to nothing. You turn, if you're religious, you can turn to God. You can turn to all that. But the fact is like, as long as you understand that you are in full control, and that you are doing what the greater good for yourself, that's the biggest win in the world.
You sure you're not a circuit speaker, man?
No. I hardly ever speak on this. If people ask, I will talk, but nobody asks that much. But I mean, there's private conversations that happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But I can't make you drink the water. Like, this is something you have to do for yourself. This is something like, I would feel wrong to go out and ask for money or anything like this for me to hear me talk about this. It'd be wrong. You don't ask for money. You lead by example, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
There's more wealth in knowing that somebody else survived.
Yeah, circuit speakers don't get paid, so it's.
No, I know. I see some people that do.
Well,
and I know who they are, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. That's wrong.
Yeah,
it's wrong. It's and like, they'll go to churches and they'll go here and they'll make 20 grand.
Yeah.
To speak.
Yeah, I'm not. No, I'm talking. Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and that's kind of like the whole That's why I'm like anti-religion and all that other stuff in the first place. And that's a
Once money's involved, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like I told you, there's more rewards in life of helping. And I appreciate you having me on, because I don't think I speak enough about this, but it's still special when somebody asks me, but I'm there. You can always ask me. Anybody can always ask me. You come to a show and just and I'm always available. You're going to find me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whether it be I'm walking across the street, go get a Coca-Cola and a pack of cigarettes. And that's one addiction I didn't kick. I'm still a smoker.
Your volume's really low.
Let me see if I turn this up. That better?
Oh, man, this is awesome. Murphy's Law's into full effect between you and me right now, brother.
Oh, yes, it is. It's like something's trying to keep us from speaking is what it is.
Yeah, we were talking about caffeine and nicotine, and you were saying you got to have your coffee. And, man, I wish I'd learned that about my wife years ago, because that would have saved a lot of heartache and resentment back in the day. If I'd have just let her have her coffee and I'd have had mine, and we'd have got along a lot better early in our marriage.
Oh, if my wife has bad news in the morning, there's a cup waiting on me. And she'll say it to me too. She goes, "Are you ready?" No, I'm not. And then I'll all of a sudden be like, "Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go." And and then she'll give it to me. But she does. She gives me that, and that's part of having a great partner too. They understand you. If they completely understand you, she gives you time. All right, I know the reaction we're going to have if I tell him right now. And I've ruined his entire day. And my wife loves me enough to where she won't do that. She have that moment, enjoy that coffee bean drink, and we're gonna have a conversation, and we do. And whether it's good or bad, she like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Okay, I can talk now. I'm awake." And even my dogs won't come near me until I've had my cup of coffee. Even they know.
That's the first I've heard that one. That's
yeah. I am not. Like that. If I could eliminate one trait in my life, I am the worst morning person. I am so bad. I have threatened to shoot people, and the gun's locked up. I'll shoot you in the face. And they're like, "Do you remember him saying that?" But no, I don't even have a gun.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just bad. I don't mean to be. I don't. It's just something I wish if I could fix that, I would.
Oh, that was one of my biggest pitfalls was, and I'd have saved myself a lot of headaches back in the day if I'd have just learned to think before I opened my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's everybody. Like a lot of people don't process. You have freedom of speech, but choose your words wisely. You can say it.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
It is. Yeah. But you know something? I love that you said that, because that's wisdom. That comes with time. It's like experience. You ain't got it unless you got it. You can't get it without going through it. It's like you just, that's part of the human experiment of life. You're never stop learning. Have you ever stopped and thought about that for a little bit? Just think about how much more you can learn and the more you can understand if you're willing to be opened up to it.
I just had that conversation with my daughter that just turned 10 years old. I was trying to help her with her homework. And I was explaining to her, I was like, you're going to continuously learn the rest of your life. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, I sound pretty damn smart saying this. But, up until I got sober, I got to think when I started partying and all that stuff, probably up until the time I quit, that's probably the mentality I had, was I was thinking as a teenager. up until I became sober. So it's all those years of maturity and wisdom and all that other stuff trying to catch back up. And it's just like, I'm sitting here having that moment with my daughter. And I'm like, listen to me go. That's a dad win right there. But that's also just, it's all catching up. And, you know, and she's getting frustrated. I'm like, there's no need to get frustrated. And this is hard with kids because there's no damn manuals. There's no damn manuals for marriage and all that. But you know what? I'm not going to do the best that day. I'm going to dust it off. I'm going to try to do better tomorrow. That's one of the biggest things right there.
You know what? You know what the best mentality? You know, we may not know everything, but you know what you can give? Love. Just approach it with pure love. If that, like, especially with your children, mad as they can make you, man, and boy, my kids can make me mad. They can make me madder than anything in the world, but you got to approach it with love. You do, because they're small versions of you. And then the best part is when they do something that you did, and they think they're pulling something, and they ain't pulling nothing because you did it better the first time. Well, you missed that step of A and B here. You could have possibly got away with it if you had done this. And when you tell them that, they're like, how did you know? I'm like, do you think you're the first one to ever think of this?
No, I mean, that's payback from like square one that I had. You know, I always told my parents, they're like, oh, you wait. They'd say, you wait until you grow up and you have kids. I'm like, well, I ain't ever having kids, so I ain't got to worry about that. And he goes, you'll see. You mark my words. And boy, my dad sure was right, because my youngest is like a female baby version of me, and I'm just like, oh shit. We'll deal with today. Try not to think about the future, but you know, they're doing their best. They do the best they can. They're going to make mistakes. We're going to move forward, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes earlier. And you know, I try to do it with love, and I try to not do it by screaming and yelling and all that stuff. And it's just
violence and fear tactics. They work in certain situations. Now, I ain't gonna say they don't. You know, the good. Like I'm a firm believer. Spare the rod, but it has to be a real situation, you know, and you know what I'm talking about. It's got to be a real situation. I ain't talking about skipping school or something like that. Or there, I'm talking about you did something that if you were older, you could be punished, you know, by the court of law. And I look at it like that. I think I spanked my son Phoenix one time in his life, and that's because he pushed a kid in the street when a car was coming.
Oh.
And I did it because, like, you jeopardized somebody's life, and he's never forgot it. But now he's 15, he's a big boy, and we talked about it about 2 months ago. He goes, Dad, that's what you should have done. He goes, I've always thought about that, and I said, well, if you look at it as in like, okay, that's attempted murder, you know. If you had succeeded with that like that's how a court would look. If you jeopardize somebody's life, that's attempted murder. You're going to be in big trouble. You know, it's like, and you got to look at it. You steal something, of course you're going to get grounded. You're going to go to jail. It's the same thing. It's corporal punishment and that. But I feel that, you know, violence ain't the answer for everything, and a lot of love and compassion too, and understanding. You know, you gotta discipline your children in ways that are learning as well. You can't fear ain't going to solve everything, and scared of getting your butt smacked, that's not going to solve everything. But also, you got to implement respect. Like, and I think that a lot of people are failing today by not teaching their children respect for others and respect for authority. And the key word is authority. Until you're 18, you're not grown, not in the law's eyes, not in mine. It's like and my dad told me, it was the greatest thing ever. He goes, I said, I'm a man. He goes, you ain't a man till you've taken care of your family, paying your bills. He was the most right I've ever heard in my life. I wasn't a man until I took responsibility. And that's being a man. And I know I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but I mean, that's just what my dad taught me of what it was to be a responsible human being. And I don't think that we're teaching our children enough of that mentality now. Like, and a lot of kids are now, there's no rules, if that makes sense. It feels like they live in a world where, they're in a safe space and only them matter. Like, I'm seeing that a lot here lately where, it's like, it's my way or the highway, and nobody can disagree with me. And it's like, that's and the sad part is it's the mentality of an addict, and it don't get us far.
No, not at all.
Am I wrong by thinking like that?
No.
Because I mean, that's just what I see. And it's like, and and Lord knows I try to love everybody. I really, really, really do. But I'm seeing things now. I'm like, it's like they're not on drugs, but they're acting like they are.
See, it's catching up. That wisdom's catching up.
It is, man. And like, I just try to, like, with my children, I try to lead by example, but I also like, let my failures be your failures so you don't have to have them. Let me carry these scars. Let me learn from my mistake. Don't go repeat it. Let me be the martyr in the situation. Let my failures be enough for both of us. I'll take them on for you, and you just learn from mine. Don't follow what Dad did, because you might not be as lucky as Daddy. Because I'm open about it with my children too. They know the truth. They know who I was, and they know what I was into, because I can't hide it. And that's the thing. You can't hide who you were. And I let them see it, and we talk about it. Especially my youngest son, Phoenix. We talk about it a lot, and he loves me. He's very special. He's my baby. And he said, and he says, I guess, I don't remember you like this. I said, because I didn't let you see it. It's like you can hide a lot of things. And he's had to deal with a lot of death this year, and he's starting to see drugs in high school and stuff. He's starting to see the weed and all that. And I keep telling him, I was like, Bubba, you just keep your eye on that. I said the ones that are doing it and are most popular, I said, it don't end well. It don't. I said, this right here is your greatest asset, and it can be your worst enemy. You got to learn how to control it now, because this is what's going to be with you for the rest of your life. And if you keep your head and your eye on the prize the whole time, I said, I'm not telling you that you can't have fun, but I'm telling you that some things don't have good endings no matter what they are.
That's setting a good example, man.
It's like, because I know for a fact, if you tell them don't, they're going to.
You think?
Oh, I know. My dad said, don't do that. Well, I'm going to do it. Can't say don't.
Guilty.
Mm-hmm. I'm very guilty of that. But I'm like, well, let's put the reality down. Look at Daddy here. Look at Daddy now. Look at Daddy here. Hey, he looks sick. You think? Let them see it. And then they have a better understanding of what comes, what that end result that Dad's talking about is. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying, look, Daddy now, healthy Daddy, unhealthy Daddy. Healthy Daddy, unhealthy Daddy. Daddy with bad temper, relax Daddy. And, I'm just showing them Jekyll and Hyde. It's like, this is what this does to you. Because my kids will tell you, it's like, my temper's gone. I don't have one anymore. If I am to lose my temper, God bless you. It's like, like it's going to be the worst day of whoever's around me's life because it's going to pop so hard it's not funny. Back in the day, it went every. It happens every 2 minutes back in the day, but that was because of the speed. Now I have it under control, and my kids were like, "Man, it's so weird. It's so quiet. It's like you don't even yell. Even when you're yelling, you're not yelling." I'm like, "There ain't no need to holler and raise my voice, and I can express myself better with my words than with my temper."
It's still mind blowing because it's like, no, I did this on my own. Everything I'm hearing is stuff you hear that people strive for, like going to the programs, and it's just like, this is amazing, man. I hope this reaches someone and they can figure this out this way. This is the first time I've sat down and actually be able to talk to someone and hear a path taken this way. That's why I do this. This is, because not exactly the way I did it. I did 6 steps. I took all the other stuff out and did it in 6 steps, and I got to continuously do it. And it's like, you're like, oh, I figured this out in a year after the fact. And I'm just like, what? How? And it's
divine intervention, dude. I told you something greater than myself put myself on this path.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hate to quote a song, but take the wheel. It was one of them. It was totally one of them.
Yeah.
Take the wheel. I can't drive. I'll end up in a ditch. And I got my dad. I'm gonna tell you something, and I hold this very dear. My dad passed away in 2010 from colon cancer, and I've had a bout with it myself. It's just my mother died of cancer. My father died of cancer. I've already had it. I've dealt with it, and I'm okay. But he would always tell me, he's like, boy, you can't burn that candle from both ends. He knew what I was doing. He knew. And when he was on his deathbed, he told me, he took my hand, and it was like a day before he died. And he took my hand and he said, you get yourself right with Jesus. You get yourself right. And I got a fishing hole up in heaven because I expect to see it. And my old man knew he's dying. He knew he was. And my old man was like, I was lucky to have my father. I was lucky to have this man. And Daddy's always pulled some strings. He always did. I think this is one of them. I'm not joking either. I think this was one of them. My old man I've never met any more giving person in my life. Ever. I've never met anybody more giving my old man. And loving. And he was a good leader. He was a good foreman. Like everybody at the wood yard, he worked for LP Lumber. Everybody came. Everybody. They kept him a job so insurance wouldn't screw him over. Like, this is the type of person he was. They made him a job so he could go to work sick and not lose everything, because how that works. You know how insurance works. They're going to, you don't work, you're going to lose your benefits. And they made sure that my dad and everybody showed up. People told me stories. He'd go fishing and he'd go, and my dad could have been a pro fisherman. And I asked him on his deathbed, I said, why didn't you? And he told me, it took the fun out of it. He was right. He did it because he loved it. And he'd go fishing. He'd catch 100 crappie, and he'd go give them away to people who couldn't afford to eat. Christmas, he'd go buy $1,000 in fruit, make fruit baskets, and give it to people who couldn't have nothing for Christmas. Give them food. He'd go hunting. He'd make jerky. He'd turn around and give it to the less fortunate. He'd keep enough for himself, and he had enough for the year, and everything else went to somebody else. He'd go catfishing, hate the taste of catfish, but love the fish, love the fight of the fish. Go catch a 28-pound flathead, give it away to a mad person. He goes, just make sure it didn't go to waste. and go give it to somebody who would eat it. Like, this is my father. And just the most giving person ever. And he told me to get myself right. And I feel like I say divine intervention. He told me who to get right with and where he expected me to be. And I just think this was another time that he was behind the scenes and he just pulled a string. Like, we need to go do something about this one. He's good, but he's wrong. We got to do something. And they did. It was the most terrifying wake up call of my life. But I think he had something to do with it.
And I appreciate you sharing that with me, man. That's powerful. That's powerful.
I love my daddy. You understand? Somebody used to call him daddy. So that's my daddy. Like, you can be a father, you can be a sperm donor. It takes a special man to be a daddy.
Yeah,
it does. And my daddy I miss him every day, but I know he's proud now. Not then. I know he was. I know he's now that's the boy I know. That's the boy I raised. That's the man I wanted to see him turn into. That's my dad now. But I definitely feel in this situation, it's just too perfect of a situation to happen to not be explained. I can't explain it. I cannot explain how this happened, why this happened. It just happened. And it was a higher power that just stepped in. It's like, you want to see the dark side? Here it is. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And I have a fear. And like I said, sometimes fear is the ultimate deterrent. It is. You get scared of something, you ain't doing it. You ain't doing it at all. You get scared, you'll think twice. Just like that. You ever see that TV show Titus when the dad, Stacy Keach?
That's been a good minute, man. That was, holy crap! How long ago was that? That was a good show.
It was. Stacy Keach played the father.
Yeah,
and he entices the little boy. Because my dad had ways of teaching lessons, and he has a penny going into the light socket. He goes, whoa, 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 let him do it. And you just hear the shock sound in the back. Goes, I bet you ain't gonna do that again. That is lessons that need to be learned daily. That's, sometimes failures can be your greatest success because of the lesson that is learned from it. And like we were talking about earlier, if you're willing to still learn the older you get, if you're willing to have that lesson happen to you, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. Every day is a blessing, and every day there's something to learn. There's something that can change you and change your thought process and how you perceive something. But you got to be willing and open to it. You got to be willing and open to see not just the straight line, but the whole box it's in, and the bigger picture, and how can things be affected.
Well, I'm glad you're willing to take some time out of your day and do this.
Hey man,
this has been one conversation. Perception. I know the bands you're associated with. I looked and I'm just like, man, this guy's going to be like some, and I'm like, and we're sitting here talking. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like perceptions, and it's like,
yeah. What I do is a show. I'm there to entertain you. But if you're willing to dig a little deeper into lyrics, into what I'm really saying, there's a message. But I'm there to entertain you most of all. But if you're willing to just listen and decipher, you might find something that might lead you on a good way.
Oh, I'll be going down some rabbit holes. Like I said, I checked out 2 of them. So, music. I've always been around music and fiddle with
Music's
it and
therapy.
this stuff. Yeah, it is. It is. I saw who was it? What West is it? Greer? West Greer?
What, West Borland?
No, not Borland. It was a guy that played with Head PE. Wes, I can't remember his last name. But he's doing like a rock therapy thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, trying to read. I reached out to him. That was one of the emails I sent out because I was like, I want to hear more about this, and because music is, I don't know, some songs hit your soul. I don't know, just like some music you can feel and all that. And,
well, all your listeners, know that, I may come across aggressive and I may come across scary. That's just, like going to a horror movie. That's all you got to think about a lot. I'm Waylon. I'm a human, and I do that because I love the term "don't judge a book by its cover."
That's what I love about this. That conveys that right here, and that's what I was getting to. And you stole my thunder.
Oh my God, I love doing interviews when people. They don't expect me to speak the way I do. They don't expect the super thick Southern accent and the good old boy. They don't. And they see the monster. They see the character I have given them. And I'll talk to them like this. And are you shitting me? Straight up. They're like, are you shitting me right now? I'm like, no, this is me. And then what I give you on stage is a performance. And I'm there just to it's there to entertain. I want to entertain. I love to see you smile. I want to see you smile. I want to see you have a good time. But you got to dig. You got to scratch the surface. You got to understand. It's like, this is great and all, and I'm being entertained. But what's he talking about? I don't write stuff that I don't write just hooks or something that's just popular for the moment. You got to scratch the surface. You got to look at it. It's a lot of soul searching, and it's there, and it finds the people it needs to find. It does. It's so, if I never make it to where, like this, I'll never be mainstream or anything like that. It's too deep. It's too much. It's not dumb enough. And I hate to say it like that. It's not, I feel like a lot of music's dumbed down, and it's not. Yeah. It's a fad, and it's going to be here today and gone tomorrow, and we're on to the next chapter. I'd rather write something that 100 years from now, when it's found, they'll be like, this guy had something to say. Kind of Van Gogh. Discover it when I'm gone. I'm fine with it.
You're amazing, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
This is about the second time today I'm about to start crying with another man on Zoom. I mean, This is why I do this. This is so powerful. This is so meaningful to me. And today, every time I have someone on here, it's like they're instantly part of my recovery. And it's, man, I always take something powerful and it resonates. And
we're in the brotherhood, and we ain't alone.
Yeah,
we all been there. We're a brotherhood, like we are. We're family, whether people realize it or not. We survived. That's the thing. We survived. Only we can understand where we've been, but only we can decide where we're going.
Yeah.
Stay the path, brother. You're on the path. You're on the right path, and you're doing it for the right reason now. You're expressing, you're looking for others, and you're trying to help others by stories of like where we were and where we went and where we're going. Keep it going, man. If we save one person, we did enough.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've done that, and just keep going, brother, man. Like, you found your niche. Just do it.
Just gotta keep doing it. I gotta step my ass, not come up and let another episode sit on the soundboard for 4 months and this, that, and another, and rationalize things and wishy-wash and jump from hobby to hobby like I always do. That's my problem. I get attracted to too many things. Like I want to paint. I want to make music. I want to do this. I want to do that. Then I go back to this and I forget about the important things.
Sometimes you got to try. So don't ever feel bad for trying. But like, what's important will always call back. What's important will always come back. It's a boomerang. Back in your face before you know what happens.
Yeah.
You throw it out there and you forget it. Sometimes you forget you threw it. They come back and crack you in the face. Like, oh, I forgot about that. I better pick that back up.
Yeah. Well, man, I'd say, like, do you have any, like, everything's been so meaningful and stuff. I usually have people be like, what would you say to someone that's looking today? And it's like, you've nailed every point for it today for someone that's there and they're on the edge and looking and finding. It's like you've hit it in every part today, man. You
would give them one more thing?
One more thing, man.
One more thing. Go to a mirror. Look at the person in it. And I do this for 1 week. Just do it for 1 week. Every day, tell them you love them. Just go in that mirror and be like, I love you. And just smile. Do it every day. And I guarantee you'll see a difference in a week.
Well, brother, I appreciate you, man. I hope you have you're heading to Australia, right?
Yes, I'll leave for Australia in less than 24 hours.
I wish you safe travels. You want to hit them plugs for the people that want to check you out? Why I got the red button lit up.
You can find A Killer's Confession on Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us on YouTube. You can follow me, Waylon Reavis Official, on Facebook. Look for the blue check mark because I'm very verified. You can follow Killer's Confession on all your social media needs. But remember, don't live on that stuff. Get up out in the real world. Make yourself a difference, brother. Because like it make a difference with the life. Because every day is a blessing, and you got to remember the every day start the same. Get up and go do something. Make a difference.
All right, man. Everyone, you make sure you check out the show notes if you didn't catch everything right there. And thanks again.